You've tuned into The Mountain Gardener with your host, Ken Lain. Gardening it can be challenging, but with these simple insider tips, you'll reap huge rewards. Now, let's tune into today's Mountain Gardener with Ken and Lisa. All right, so we are back with Lisa Waters Lain in the studio, just kind of going through your garden questions. Just what are other gardeners asking about? So Lisa brings those to us. It could be a Facebook questions, an email. We get quite a few of those. Actually, YouTube has a surprising number of questions. And then, of course, here in the garden center, right here at Waters Garden Center, we're talking to gardeners all day long. So we want to share those. So welcome to the studio, Lisa.
Thank you. Good to be here.
It is good to be here. Like, this is the reason we live here, not at the garden center, but Central Highlands of Arizona. That it's just so beautiful out. All the trees are turning color.
It's beautiful right now.
Oh my gosh. You can walk, never get hot.
Yeah. The oaks are starting.
Did you notice the maple trees out front in front of the store?
Yeah.
Where the eastern side, where the sun is hitting them, they're in full red. The backside, the north side, is all green.
Isn't that weird?
So it is interesting. So the sun is doing something to help them turn. They're happy with that sun. They want to turn, but they want to turn where they're warm. Very interesting stuff. So anyway, what kind of garden questions we got?
All right. Well, our first question is from Sharon. She was in the other day, saw us unloading aspens out of the back of a truck. And she has a new home in Prescott Valley. She's asking, can I put an aspen in Prescott Valley? Her neighbors were discouraging her. She really wants one, loves the look. So what do you think?
Sharon, you live in America. Get what you want. Don't listen to your neighbors. Oh my gosh, I don't even know what they're talking about. If you drive around Prescott Valley, there are striking, beautiful aspens out there. Beautiful white bark. They're starting to get that little tinge of gold to them. Sharon, you can have one, get one, do one. Oh my goodness. We've got Aspen Creek right here. It's about the same level as Prescott Valley. Why wouldn't it grow out there? That's a neighbor that doesn't know what they're talking about. Go for it. In fact, I've seen them, if you irrigate them, they'll go as low as Cordis Junction, Jerome, although that might be getting, as you drop down to that lower level, gets a little bit much. But for sure, you can go down to 4,000 foot level. No problem. We had them in Skull Valley. We grew up several of them. They were stunning. As you go lower in elevation, you may have to actually put them on drip irrigation, which, it's pretty easy. You're going to put everything else on there and water it once a week. If you kill an aspen, especially in Prescott Valley, that clay soil with the caliche layers, if you kill them, it will be from over watering, not under watering.
That is true.
So you kind of put them on a drip, water them once a week, and you're probably can have some beautiful, impress your neighbor with your green thumbs, plant an aspen. And we've got, we were just looking at some 12, 15 footers are huge.
Got some nice ones.
Stunning.
Definitely.
Now's the time to put them in for sure.
And aspens are pretty, that beautiful golden color in the fall. We were coming back from the lake going through Flagstaff, and that one whole side of the mountains, just you could see the aspens.
Yeah,
it was just
all of them are
beautiful.
going. Well, I was just helping a friend in Paquito Valley. That's out towards the base of the out past Coyote Springs, past Prescott Valley, where they've got bigger properties.
Right.
And they wanted to hide some neighbors, but they have these beautiful vistas. They didn't want to hide it.
Right.
So we used the aspens to really create a picture frame. We hid the neighbor's barn and we pictured a thing, and they sit on their front patio and they go, look at my sunsets. They are spectacular. You can use them as a design element to frame your vistas. Everyone thinks, fall color and white bark. Well, it's good, but you can also use them to very effectively to screen or to highlight your best views on your property.
Very true. Very true. All right. Our next question is from Doug out in Prescott Valley again. He has a large, older pampas grass that's starting to kind of die out in the center. Yeah. He wants to know, is there anything you do with that? Is just that the nature of the beast?
Yeah.
Or, I don't think anybody burns the centers out of them anymore.
No, it doesn't do anything anyway. So just come back. So Pampas grass are kind of like people. There's a stage where they're just like, oh my gosh, they're so beautiful. And they sing well and they dance and they just want to take a picture and put them on the front of magazines and talk about them. They're just rock stars. And then they start to fade. You put them on the front cover of AARP, kind of, yeah. We're learning how to ask for a discount, travel better, go on a cruise, and they start to die out in the middle. And then finally they get to the point where they get a horseshoe thing where they just the whole side will die out and they just don't look good anymore. And they're kind of maybe not, their skin's maybe a little wrinkler, they got some spots, and you're not going to put them in the front of a magazine, but they're still alive for a little bit. You just almost have to make a call and go, it's been a good 10 years, 8 years, 10, 12 at most. And then they get ugly where they need to be replaced. You can date neighborhoods by their pampas grass.
That's true.
Don't let your pampas grass, Doug, for the love of gardening, don't let the pampas grass date your house just because the center died out or it's a horseshoe shape. You're going to dig it up and probably reset for another $50. You get this glorious new one that'll take you for another 10 years. It's like $5 a year. Just think of it that way. For the next 10 years, you're good. And you have this beautiful new pampas grass, but they stop blooming. They die out in the middle. There's a time when plants get ugly, and they're not puppy dogs. So you're planting in the ground. They're actually plants. They're disposable. You can dig them up. They don't feel pain. They don't have nerves. Doug, just dig the thing up. It's bringing you down. It's bugging you because otherwise you wouldn't have asked the question. So I know it should have been done last year. Don't wait till next year to do it and ask the same question. Just get it. Now's a good time to plant pampas grass. Or maybe you go with a smaller grass. Yeah, get time to change it up. You can get a coral forester grass. It's a kind of hip high thing that blooms even longer. So, or maybe you change it to a flame maple, just a tall, kind of a similar sized maple, smaller leaf maple. It has kind of a Japanese maple look, but it takes full sun and wind like a pampas grass. Maybe it's time to change it up, but it's going to be some work.
Yes, it is.
To get that root out. Might take you all
Tie
winter.
it to your bumper. Did we do that once?
No, that was a rose tree.
Oh,
but it's got like a palm tree, very, very fibrous root mass.
Like a sponge.
So you gotta dig it up, chip away at it, and eventually you'll get it and kill it off. So Doug, there's your answer. Not what you wanted to hear. There is no there is no recovery.
But there is recovery.
Yeah, plant new.
Something new.
Fresh new. Yeah.
Right.
Fresh new.
All right. Our next question is from Alicia in Prescott. She says some of her ponderosas and Austrian pines on her property are having needles kind of brown out and drop. Okay. So she's concerned, is that a normal occurrence? Is it something she should be worried about?
I would say just by what you're saying, not to worry. I think you're fine. So pine cones are another one. So ponderosas will drop their pine cones now. So they can be, watch your head, wear a hat or a helmet. Because they can drop, cleaning those things up. It's part of it's what happens is pine trees, they're lush and full in spring. And then they put that brand new growth on. You have 2 feet for an Austrian pine, maybe a little bit more for ponderosas. And so you get this big, full, fluffy, thick pine tree. And then it starts to shade the inside needles. And so they don't get the sun like they were doing. And then as it puts on this year's ring of wood, what happens is the bark actually gets a little thicker, and so closer to the trunk of that pine tree, it gets too thick for even a needle to get through it. So it's a natural process. A pine tree, you'll never see needles on the actual trunk because the bark and the wood has gotten so thick, and they do that to insulate themselves. So in case it gets droughty, gets fire, there's some reasons that it's doing that. But needles can't compete, so they just shed those, and so they'll put on new needles next spring, and the whole process will start over. So going back to what should you do for a pine tree? Right now, I'd do 2 things. 1, don't worry. 2, actually 3 things. Don't worry. 2, fertilize it so that you're setting the stage for next spring's flush new growth. So you get this beautiful new growth. Secondly, pine trees are prone to bark beetle. It's flathead borers, some things. Treat it right now with a tree and shrub drench. There's a liquid that you mix up in a watering can, pour it right at the base of the tree. The plant will absorb it as it's absorbing nutrients from your fertilizer. Do those two things, fertilize and tree and shrub drench. You will have a happy, healthy, worry-free pine tree for, well, the next year at least. So don't worry, basically, you're fine.
Right.
But that's a gardener, catching what's going on in nature.
Definitely.
That's it for this segment. Ken and Lisa Lain, the Mountain Gardeners. We'll be right back. Water's October companion plants that grow well together are blaze maples, spicy mums, glamour kale, and burning bush.
Water's compact burning bush is a neat, well-behaved shrub prized for its blazing red foliage in the fall.
Looks great when planted with autumn gold sumacs, lilacs, and gold euonymus.
At 6 foot, this bush makes a natural hedge that burns red through autumn.
You'll find the showiest shrubs here at Waters Garden Center.
Siri, give me directions to Waters Garden Center.
For a more fruitful garden, increased success in the landscape that just feels better, then tune in daily to the Mountain Gardener podcast. Subscribe through your favorite podcast streamer or visit watersgardencenter.com. Better yet, visit me directly right here at Waters Garden Center. Thanks for tuning in.